Hello.
Hey man,
Hey man, how's it going?
good evening. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Very nice, very good.
All right, well, let's get started. So did you have
uh,
replays
but by the
on?
way, do you have Discord? Because like my keyboard is gonna sound a lot if I use Skype.
Ah, okay, sure. We can use Discord, but I mean it depends because depends on whether you want to do live coaching or go over a replay.
Okay, I think I just want to go over replay actually.
Okay, because if we're doing replay, Skype is better, so I can share screen with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean,
That's gonna.
you don't need to use your keyboard that much. It's, I mean, no big deal.
Yeah, that's true actually. Yeah, let's do that actually. That's true actually.
Shouldn't be a big issue. All right, just a sec. I'll share screen with you. Um, and yeah. All right, so it's up. You should be able to see my screen.
Yeah.
All right, so you had a game in mind?
Yeah, sure. I want to watch the Invoker game, the last Invoker game I played.
This one.
Like it was like 2 days ago.
Is it this?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, cool. Okay, so you want to play mid or?
Yeah, I like to play mid. Like that's my preferred role. I can play other roles as well, but I think mid is like the most fun role.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely fun for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get into the game, I'll just talk a little quick about the picks. Especially as a mid, you generally wanna pick later on in the draft. So because like generally mid hero is gonna be like position 1 or 2, and generally expected to carry the game, especially here like Invoker. So with that being said, you kind of want to, I mean, you kind of need to have a good matchup. Because obviously if your hero is like countered, then you're not really going to be able to carry the game, no matter how farmed you get.
Yeah.
So with that being said, this game, also not just looking at the enemy team counters, but also how it fits with your team, of course. So this looks like a pretty great Invoker game in terms of your team. Like you have 3 heroes that are very good at setting up: Spearbreaker, Centaur, Podge. Like very tanky frontliners, first of all, so in team fights, you can sit back, cast your spells. And they have long disables to set up SlashStrike, and also Viper is like a self-sufficient safe laner. I mean, I'm assuming the Viper was safe lane and you were mid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Viper was safe lane, exactly.
Yeah, so I mean that also works really well with Invoker because it means he doesn't need support babysitting him. He can be left alone, and that means because Invoker is actually quite weak on the lane, one of the weakest mid laners, like the first few levels. So having a Viper on a safe lane frees up your supports to help you mid. And as for the enemy team,
Squishy.
yeah, well, the Weaver is like so. I mean, he is squishy. Yeah, I wouldn't say like any of these heroes are Invokers like particularly great against, but he's also not really bad against any of them. I mean, Doom used to be kind of a counter, but he got nerfed so much. Like the cast time is so long, it's really easy to avoid getting doomed. Plus, you like building Lincolns anyway on Invoker, as in it's like a very great item for Invoker.
Yeah.
So I don't really consider Doom an issue. I guess out of all those heroes, just the bounty can be annoying because he scouts you. Like you want to sit back and be hidden, and he can like when he tracks you, that's really annoying to deal with. It can make it easier for them to chase you down. And the ogre is kind of annoying in the laning stage, but later on the ogre is just food. Like he can't really do anything against you. So
yeah, pretty much.
yeah. So all in all, it's like decent gaming from the enemy team, but great Invoker game considering your team. So yeah, that's a good pick here. Alright, let's get into the replay. So what are you mostly looking to improve on from this coaching?
I think like just maybe the laning phase in terms of like maybe harassing and aggro on the creeps and stuff like that, because I think like my laning phase is fine, but I can probably like do it a lot better, and that's one of the things. And the second thing is probably like just general decision making, but that's pretty hard to decide, because it's like up to game and stuff like that. So I think just the laning phase in the biggest, I think the laning phase.
Of course. Okay. I mean, I just have to say first of all, like, I hear this a lot from a lot of people that, you know, they have something they want to improve on, and laning, especially from mid players, laning phase the thing I hear most often. I have to say, if you like in terms of really getting better, climbing MMR, winning more games, I assume that is the final goal, right? Like,
yeah, of course.
yeah. So in terms of that, the laning phase is actually not very useful to focus on, in the sense that you can practice laning a lot and you can be like a godlike laner and stuff. You can win your lane every time, but it's less likely to win you the game than other things, like, for example, decision making, which you mentioned. Like, something like that is much more likely. You know, so basically, like, you can win your lane, but if you don't know what to do, you don't know, like, when to push, when to fight, when to farm, you're probably still going to lose the game. Whereas if you actually know all those things, you know, you can be kind of bad at laning. Maybe you lose your lane when you shouldn't have, but you can still easily come back through the other things. So that being said, it's, of course, I mean, we can like go over the laning stage. Like, if you didn't tell me anything, I would probably skip it, to be honest. I generally like to skip the laning stage, but because you asked for it, we'll definitely go over it here.
Yeah, we can take like a few minutes on it if you like, and then go over to like the mid game stuff.
Yeah, sure. All right, so first of all, you're against the Weaver. Let's go to Dire Fog. So before you even like think about any of the mechanics of the lane, like Iron, like when to whatever harass, etc., you need to think about the matchup, and what matchup means also not just your hero but also the supports, because mid, you know, for a long time it hasn't really been 1v1, right? It's the position 4 is pretty much guaranteed to sit mid in a lot of games, especially these games. This game I see like actually both teams have two essentially position 4 heroes, like heroes that don't really want to stay in the safe lane. Both Ogre and Bounty kind of want to move around the map, mostly mid, and same goes for Bara and Pudge. They want to move around the map, mostly mid. So in a way, it's almost like a 3v3 mid. But yeah. Anyway, with that being said, when you get into the lane, you need to think about what does my hero want to get out of the lane. Like, what's my goal? Like, what for me is a good laning stage? Because people often talk about like, oh, winning mid, and like, yeah, sure, if you get the tower at 5 minutes, you definitely won the lane. Okay, but that's not gonna happen often. But there are some nuances. For example, some people are way too focused on getting a solo kill on the enemy mid, or just in general killing the enemy mid. Like, that's great to kill him, but like, let's say if you kill him twice, but he has 2 times as much CS and he took your tower, then you didn't win the lane, even if you're 2-0. Your impact is worse because you lost your tower. Like, this is the tier 1 mid is the most important tower.
Yeah.
So yeah, and of course every mid has different goals. Like, Invoker, for example, is a pretty simple case. It's a very like late game heavy hero. He's quite weak, especially level 1, probably one of the weakest level 1 heroes. You know, you get stronger like around level 5. Your hero is pretty decent on the lane. Like, you have the Alacrity or the Force Piss or whatever build you went for. This is assuming Zor Invoker, of course. But you know, you don't have a good AoE spell to shove the lane with, so your lane control is not very good. A very little response to getting ganked or dove. You know, like, okay, you have Invis, but it's one of the worst Invis on the like early levels.
Yeah.
You don't have any stuns, so it's a weak hero. It's like you can consider him like the Spectre of mids or the Slark of mids. You know, it's very easy to pressure you.
Yep.
So that being said, your goal though is to get as much farm as possible, and of course it doesn't mean you shouldn't play aggressive at all. Like, especially when you have good supports, you can play aggressive, go for kills, but it's not your priority. Like, if you get a kill and you die, that's bad, because your purpose is to not die and to get farm, and so your number one priority is not die. number 2 priority, get as much farm and XP as possible. And it's pretty simple. And then the enemy is a Weaver, so his, like as a Weaver, of course it's a scaling hero. It's not a standard mid, but a Weaver in this matchup, you can assume that if he knows what he's doing, his goal is gonna be not so much to get farm himself, because like Weaver, again, scales well, but he's gonna find his farm eventually anyway. He's a good fighting hero. He knows that you're an Invoker, and he knows that you're weak early and that he wants to pressure you. So you can expect most mates you face as an Invoker to try and pressure you. You should expect it at least. I'm not saying it's gonna happen every game, especially, you know, like at 4K. I'm sure plenty of games where you play Invoker and the enemy mid is like doesn't touch you and it just lets you farm. Like that's great, but you should be prepared for, you know, the hardest thing basically, which is when they are trying to pressure you. So yeah, and the supports are Ogre and Bounty. Actually, let's see what Ogre and Bounty are up to. So Ogre starting on the safe lane. That's pretty great for you.
Yeah.
If Ogre is like mid right now, you wouldn't really be able to CS because you can't do anything about it. They have a bounty though, and yeah, sending the courier like this without seeing the bounty.
Yeah, I just didn't think about the bounty being in the game.
Yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, not much to say there. Like against bounty, you can't really do that. That's it. Yeah, so it is kind of nice for you that it's, the Weaver, even though he has good potential to pressure you, he also is like doesn't really have an AoE nuke. I mean, Shukuchi deals damage of course, but it's not really a nuke, so he's not able to like really pressure the lane too much or like control the lane that hard. So actually, wait, let's replay real quick because I was looking at the supports. Let's see what happened in the first wave. So you got a good block and the wave's on your high ground. For some reason he's very scared, he's not contesting at all. So you don't really think about the nice too much and you make sure you get the last hits, which is good. Range creep of course, again that should be the main priority always. Especially on a hero that wants XP like Invoker. Probably the most XP hungry hero in the game. You wanna like put a lot of emphasis on that range creep. Like it's not even, you don't even want to put the emphasis on last hitting it. You want to make sure it doesn't get denied basically, because if you miss the last hit but your creeps kill it, you still get the full XP, right? So it's pretty much worth it to like off hit it a little bit. So okay, maybe you don't get the last hit, but make sure he doesn't deny it basically.
Yeah.
And of course denying your range creeps is also great because it gives you even more XP. So
yeah.
So what happened here is I'm not sure if you were like planning or did it intentionally, but
no, you mean pushing the wave?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't planned.
Okay, so even though it wasn't planned, it's not a bad move because first you see the Ogre bottom.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I don't know if you saw him, but you should see him. He's on the creeps. So you know that at most there's a bounty here. Now, as you mentioned, bounty and Weaver, they're very good at killing you, but they don't have any AoE, no way to clear the creeps. So the creeps act as your defense here. Like let's say the bounty starts hitting you right now. The creeps are gonna hit him. Yeah, here we go, that happens. And he has to back because the creeps are hitting him. You see like there's 3 range creeps, they're all attacking him. Now the Weaver runs at you. But what happens here is that you actually run away from your creeps. So you give the creeps are here, but the Weaver is fighting here. So there's no aggro, like he's too far away to aggro the creeps. So you actually don't really have the creep advantage right now.
Okay, is it better in that situation to just stay with the creeps and fight the Weaver? Or?
If you were solo, yeah, but it's a bit of a, you know, odd situation because they're both there, and I mean Bounty does have 6 armor and stout shield, so that's because of the courier kill actually, I think, or I guess he might have randomed. It's a lot of money. Either way, of course when they're both there, you can't really man fight them even if you have creep advantage just because you're solo level. So in this case, I mean you did the right play, I guess. Like let's replay real quick. I mean, to be honest, like being this deep is a little bit too deep to be. Oh, actually, okay, that was a replay bug. You weren't that deep. Here, you like hit him and you cold snap him. Like he gets scared, but if he just like that was the wrong play from him. If he just stood still and attacked you, because essentially what you were doing, you were trading with him, but Like, he hits harder because he has his passive, and Bounty's running to you. So you would have to start running before he would have to start running. And that means, like, you would lose the trade, basically. So
Yeah.
the better play would be just to run back to the tower, because, again, your creeps are pushing in. He's missing last hits. Okay, here you run back out, and he actually solved, and they chase you down. So if you look at what's happening here when you step out. So, okay, the logical assumption is he even tanked the tower hits. So you're like, alright, he's low, he's gonna go back to farm, I should step out. And you even hit him, but the moment he dodges this hit, you need to step back, and it's just... Okay, so this, you're fine if you just kept walking, but this, like, stepping further out...
that move was pretty weird, actually. Like, and I also got the high ground disadvantage, so I missed, like, my attack and stuff.
Yeah. So basically, that little step is the reason you died. I mean, I don't know much to say about that. Just recognizing that, okay, he solved, so Sunny has more HP, so there's no way you win the trade. Especially like Bounty was still chilling there. So it's just about being defensive, and a lot of this is about being patient. If you notice, like, the CS right now, like, he just first blooded you, right? But, or I mean, okay, the Bounty got the kill, but you're 6 and 2, and Weaver is 1 and 0. So you see, this Weaver actually does realize, well, how this lane works. He knows that, alright, that's this Invoker, I want to pressure this Invoker. I mean, it's pretty basic, like, everyone knows you want to pressure Invoker. So he pretty much ignored CSing, right? He has one creep. This is the fourth wave. He took one creep. All he did was think about how he's gonna damage you and kill you. And he does actually get the kill, so suddenly this is kind of worth it for him. Still arguable, like, how much it's worth it, but it is good. And imagine if you just play very safe, and you just AFK under the tower, you would keep your creep advantage, and you wouldn't die, and you would be doing well, basically. Because, again, your only goal is to not die, and get whatever farm you can. So it's basically about being patient. Like, when you're playing a Puck and stuff, or like more of these, you know, aggressive heroes, Puck, Pop, Lina, whatever, like those heroes, yeah, you wanna be trading hits a lot, maybe force some kills, play a bit more risky. Okay, like, you might die, but you might get a kill. Like, that's reasonable with those heroes. But with Invoker, you should think, like, is there a chance that I die? If yes, don't do it.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes, like, again, I mentioned, if the ogre came, if the ogre was chilling here right now, you wouldn't be able to farm, and it's gonna feel really bad and stupid, and like, oh my god, ogre's so strong, I can't CS, I'm AFK under the tower. But that would be the right play, because, like, it's just what you have to do. You need to call your supports to help you, but you can't, like, run out and like, ogre Weaver would just kill you. So anyway, right now there's no one. There's no one helping the Weaver. You have a pretty nice ward, so you don't actually have a sentry for the bounty, so it's a little bit dangerous, but, you know, it's okay to step out a little. Your spells, though, are, like, it's fine to have this build is okay, the double cross, because you need some regen.
Yeah.
Against the Harasser Weaver. But, like, Cold Snap, SlashStrike, you know, those are the spells where you try and get a kill. If they dive you, if the Weaver, especially a hero like Weaver, if he dives you, like, the SlashStrike is not really a reliable way. Like, against some heroes that are not mobile, like, let's say against Alina, when she dives you under the tower, for example, she's gonna be, like, casting spells, standing still, you Cold Snap SlashStrike, and you can probably kill her before she kills. That, in that sense, SlashStrike is defensive. But against the Weaver, like, he has Shukuchi, the SlashStrike is very unlikely to land, so you wanna instead of SlashStrike have a Force Spirit, and you can actually use that Force Spirit, you know, to help you on the lane. Just, it helps you CS, it helps you like, trade hits with the Weaver. Like, again, Weaver is single target, he can't really kill, he can't attack you and the Force Spirit at the same time. Here's where it's not a huge mistake, you don't lose that much, but it's more about recognizing, like, how this is going, like, recognizing the situation. So tell me, like, do you remember this moment, what was going through your head when this moment happened?
I thought I was just farming creeps, and I thought like he was very fast, and I couldn't catch up him. So I thought that I would just go back.
No,
Nothing would
yeah,
happen.
that's what happened after. But I'm like right now when
Oh yeah,
you walk towards him.
I'm gonna run after him and cold snap him. So we can catch him maybe.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
but yeah, basically the only way that works is if for some reason he decides to not use Shukuchi. Like it's a level 1 charge, 600 ms. Shukuchi is 550. Bar actually cancels it, but even if it hits here, like the only way you maybe get a kill is like again if not only does the Weaver screw up, but the bar gets like a lucky bash. And so there's like a very low chance of anything good happening there. And you did actually miss like a creep or two under the tower because you stepped out. So, and that's again like, okay, maybe you kill him, but you know, what if his supports are helping him? What if an ogre was running there? What if the bounty was there? Like, it's just, it's the wrong mindset, right? Like you don't care about killing the Weaver. Like that's not what you want to achieve from this lane. You just want to farm.
Yeah.
So, and again, like you're outchasing him really hard, so it's fine. It's just, yeah. So here, just farm some more. To be honest, he's like not really doing a good job of anything. Also, like the fact that Ogre's not pressuring you makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean he plays so scared. Like he misses a lot of last hits because of that. So
exactly. Yeah. So now the wave is pushed, but you have Pudge on the left, Bar on the right, so you feel pretty safe. And not just that, but they're constantly showing on the other lanes with their supports, like bounties showing top. Okay, not right now, but yeah. Okay, that was actually a minimap bug. You don't see the bounty, and you don't see the ogre right now. But again, it's okay to be positioned like this because the Pudge is right behind you and the bar is nearby as well. He can charge if they try to go on you. So they do actually go on you, like ogres here. Pudge is kind of out of position. I'm not sure why I ran all the way there. But here you just pop in this, you walk away. So here you stay really far back for it. Like now that the Pudge is here, again, you can just start hitting creeps. There's no way you die when Pudge is there. So it's like with unnecessary defensive position. But anyway. So here you actually hit the creeps a lot, which is good. Because you see that there's double ranged and it's gonna push in. Kind of want to avoid having too many creeps under the tower. So anyway, so far just farming. Let's watch your player perspective. Yeah. So you're watching bottom for the SlashStrike. So here it's a bit of a mistake to keep your Invis invoked for so long. Like after you escape, you don't need to still have it. Also, when you are gonna invoke Sunstrike, you wanna like re-invoke the Cold Snap. So you have Cold Snap Sunstrike. It's obviously better than Invis Sunstrike. Like you don't need the Invis right now. And now if you wanna invoke the Cold Snap again, you're gonna waste another 60 mana. This is where you wanna get a new ward. It's expired. Although it's almost daytime. But yeah, here we step on the low ground. And this time they actually have detection, so it just did. So this will be avoided with a ward, but also recognizing that, okay, Ogre was made a while ago, and he's not showing. And actually, if you pause right here, you see 0 enemy heroes on the map. Not just that, but Drow just died bottom. And if Drow died, and like you could see that no one was helping him. So if no one is helping the Drow bottom, where could they be, you know? Well, again,
yeah.
Are they gonna gank the Viper? Like, who wants to gank Viper? Like, let's be real. Obviously, they're trying to kill you. So yeah, not just that, but it's even more suspicious that Bounty is like showing himself and Weaver is not. So yeah. So this is where again the correct play is to just be patient, either AFK under the tower or maybe go farm this camp. And also you shouldn't, when you play these heroes, again it's a pub, but there's no like team play, so the chance of people listening is not that high, and you know I realize that, but still it doesn't hurt to ask people, like, you know, maybe sometimes they'll listen, but the correct play here is to ask, you know, your support, like, hey Bara or like Pudge, can you guys come and back me up mid. I don't see the enemy supports, I'm scared. And you can just say that, and you know, maybe they're gonna be like, maybe they're toxic, like, alright, fuck off dude, not helping you or whatever.
Yeah.
But then at least you know, right? And then you know that, okay, that play doesn't work, so I need to sit back under my tower or go from the jungle or something. But again, number one priority is to not die. And as for the winning the lane, this is the other thing that I mentioned, like, Weaver has, you die twice, and Weaver is, like, didn't die, but you have like 4 times the CS and 17 denies. Just like he's basically getting destroyed in CS. And if you look at net worth, despite these two deaths, you're almost 1k net worth ahead, and you're level 8.5, and he's level 7. So we can say that technically you're winning the lane, because you are actually, you know, getting your farm. Like you're gonna hit a okay Midas timing. Although the death obviously slows you down quite a bit. It could be a even like really fast Midas, but whatever, you're still gonna get the Midas like around 10 minutes most likely, which is fine. But yeah, it could be a lot better, a lot more one-sided just by not dying.
Yep.
Especially because you're saving up. Again, I'm gonna make the comparison here with hero like Puck or Quap. On those heroes, you want to play like very fast tempo, right? You buy a bunch of small items, like when you get the money, like you buy a second null, you buy a wand, a raindrop, a bottle, boots, salves, whatever. Every time you get money, you buy something small real quick. So even when you die with those heroes, you're usually trading a kill, you don't lose that much money, etc. But with Invoker, you're saving up for Midas. So you have a lot of like gold saved up. So every time you die, you actually lose a lot of gold too, because there's nothing small that you can buy, you know, to make up for that loss. And it really slows down the timing of that big item. So that's like an extra reason why you should really put emphasis on not dying over making any like aggressive moves or stepping out too far.
Yep.
And you see a lot of again, Invoker is one of the weakest laners. It's pretty easy to punish. And if you remember, like I just told you, okay, you didn't see anyone, you should be farming the jungle here to be safe. What often happens is that when Invoker is forced to leave a lane, someone is gonna go and just push the tower, like the enemy mid hero. That's why heroes like Lina, who are very good at pressuring Invoker on the lane and forcing him off the lane, are also good, because when he does leave the lane, a hero like Lina can also pressure the tower really hard and get it early, and that's, from what I mentioned earlier, like the most important tower. So losing that is a big minus. And it's almost kind of inevitable as an Invoker to if you're getting like wrecked on the lane, it's a hard matchup, etc. It's almost inevitable that you're gonna lose that tower if the enemy mid like realizes the importance of it. But that's also why you actually see some good Invoker players do it pretty often, which is when they get some levels in Exhort, they use Meteor to push out the wave, because that's like your one spell in your game that can push the wave quickly. So, and the reason they do it is not even just to get the last hits necessarily, because you'll see this move if you watch some games, like they just Meteor the creeps and they run away instantly, because it's just killing the creep wave from a safe distance, and the only purpose of that is to make sure your creep wave is pushing in, and when you go jungle, you're not going to lose the tower that quick.
Like the mana cost is so high though for
it is really high.
Meteor.
It's a massive cooldown. You're not really getting last hits with it, etc. It doesn't like feel good, but it's kind of a must in some games when you're like really far behind, because that means the enemy is snowballing, and the faster they get the tower, the harder they're gonna snowball, etc. Just want to point out here, pretty big mistake to use the Midas on melee creep, because the range creep gives way more XP, and the Midas amplifies experience. You know, it's 1.85 times the experience, so you always want to use it, especially on a hero like Invoker. Of course, the gold is great, but the main focus of the Midas is to get XP, to get your levels faster. So you always want to use it on highest XP possible creep, which is the range creep. The only creeps that give more experience than range creeps are the level 6 neutrals, which are okay, for some reason I can't, I guess, yeah. So the troll is level 6, like Centaur is level 5, so I'm pretty sure it gives about the same experience as a range creep. This guy's level 5. Mod golems are less XP than range creep. But yeah, so basically troll or satire, if there's satire. Yeah, Ursa's level 5. Okay, there's no satires on the map, but you get the point. Like,
Yeah.
Either troll or satire, those are level 6. So either that or range creep. That should be your focus. Again, it's a bit of a preference thing. I mean, if there's no range creep nearby and you just want to use it as soon as possible, that's also okay. But yeah, personally, I like to prioritize the XP over the gold. So even if it's off cooldown for a little bit, I like to wait until I actually reach a range creep, so I get that XP boost.
Yeah. So the range creep is even better than like the siege creep.
Yeah, it is actually, because I mean it's deceiving, right? Because the siege creep is level 4 and the range creep is level 2, but it is actually
Okay.
They're close though, and sometimes you do want to Midas the siege creep, but that's for a different reason. That's when you want to push the lane, because obviously you're doing like the most effective damage to the creep wave, because the siege creep takes like a long time to kill, whereas the range creep dies really quick.
Yeah, because I've seen like sometimes in pro games where they like attack a melee creep and they use Midas on the same creep that they were attacking instead of like a new creep. I have no idea why, but
yeah, I mean it's not the biggest thing, and like sometimes you just do it wrong. Like I mean, pro players do a lot of things wrong. It's not like everything they do is some super well thought out, like with deep meaning behind it. But yeah. Anyway, so far you get your Midas. So what you want to do at this point is, again, I mean, you can like make some plays with your Viper. He's really strong, but again, a problem here is that, like, let's think about the game plan right now. Like, as an Invoker, it's pretty straightforward. You don't really want to fight before you have your Ags. I'm gonna go to your perspective again. You don't really want to fight before your Ags, and this Viper, he is the great hero to go with Invoker because he's very different. Like, he wants to fight right now. Viper is the strongest hero on the map. He has his skill build is very weird, level 1 passive, but alright, that's just whatever. He's strong, he has his passive, even though it's level 1.
Yeah.
And he wants to fight people. Like, he wants to run into towers, hit heroes, tank spells, etc. But you don't. And that means that right now, at the spot where you both walk up the hill to their tower with, by the way, I just want to point out, your Centaur is like all the way bottom lane. He took the tower, that's great, he's working on his blink. He has a TP, but you guys are far from the tower. Your Spiritbreaker is chilling in the woods. He has 0 mana, he just uses ult to get a kill. And your Pudge is in base. Like, again, he has a TP, but you guys are far from the tower. So what does this mean? Even the Viper is arguably slightly out of position, because like the team can't really help him that easily, but it's a Viper, like he can get away with it. Again, the hero's so tanky, there's no way he just gets bursted or whatever. But you as an Invoker, you're not tanky at all, and not just that, but you're the prime target. So of course, when you're next to each other, like, I get that psychologically you're like, alright, I'm next to my buddy Viper, he's very scary, I'm fine, he's protecting me, but they can just ignore him. Like, there's no reason to ever attack a Viper when they can just go for an Invoker kill, which is much better. So, and that's I guess exactly what happens. He just turns, uses Doom, bounty's hitting you, he shurikens you, you get ignited, team comes to help, but you end up having to get denied. So again, you might think, alright, well, I died, but we killed the Doom and the bounty, but is that really worth it? What do you think?
No, I have my Midas off cooldown as well.
It's off cooldown. You lose some money again because you're saving up for Navigato, which is the Ags. I mean, you did buy your Ogre Club, I think, before you died, but whatever. You lose money. You're spending time not farming. The Viper gets 2 kills, but that's like whatever. He will probably get some kills anyway, again because he's the strongest hero right now. And basically, like, you're the insurance for your team, right? Like, you're what they're playing for right now. Like, they're playing to secure Invoker's game, Invoker's gonna secure their late game. And every time you die, it's like your team, should feel pressured, because if you're not not getting very farmed, if you're not hitting great timings, then who's gonna carry them? Because there will come a point where the Viper just falls off. Like, he's super strong now, but at some point he's just gonna get like kited and ignored, and there's like a bunch of track, people are gonna run around him, he can't catch the Weaver, Doom can, get very tanky and ignore him, he can get Ags and just Doom him and remove his passive, Drow can kite him, etc. Like, he's not gonna carry the late game, it's on you. So you need to like take that responsibility and realize that like you cannot die, you need to get your good timings. Actually now I just noticed a skill build, 4 points of quas, like this, that's a like very fighting skill build, because like you don't need quas when you're farming jungle, when you're farming your Ags. The only reason you need that many points in quas is if you want to fight early, and not just that, but like which spells actually benefit so much from 4 quas and 1 in Wix. The only spell that like becomes good is Ice Wall basically. So, and I guess arguably Blast, but like using Blast in early game, 300 mana cost, it's, yeah. You don't level up cost for the Blast always. So the only time I would go for this kill build is like registrationally, like let's say you're against a Templar Assassin maybe, and you want to like Ice Wall her, and that's, you can Ice Wall not just to kill her, but also to make sure she can't kill you if she's like running at you.
Break Refraction.
Yeah, you break Refraction, but like, again, your goal as an Invoker is not going to be to kill TA in the early game when you don't even have Axe. So you're, not to mention the hero's a bit of a counter to Invoker and already. So the only reason you would have the Ice Wall is for defensive purposes. Like, you think, okay, TA is going to maybe dive me, better have points and quas so I can Ice Wall and survive.
Yeah.
Like, put it behind me and run away. But that's like very, very situational. Like, but this game obviously it's useless. Like, Weaver like literally ignores it. They're probably one of the heroes that's the least affected by Ice Wall in the game. So absolutely no reason to level up the quas this much. Like generally, the most standard build is to have at level 13 you have max exhort, 3 quas, 3 wex. And like how you get there, some games you can go like 3 quas, 1 wex, and then like get the 3 wex last. Some games you go like 2 in quas and get the wex earlier. Like slight differences, but basically the wex is kind of a big deal, because especially the second point in wex, if you notice the alacrity, that's the main spell you're using to farm jungle. The bonus attack speed goes from 10 to 25. Like that's more than double. So like that second point in wex really increases your farm. Yeah, and again right now, like, you being in the mid lane doesn't really pressure the enemy that much. Like, okay, now when you see a fight happening there, like that's a good time to push them. Okay, but instead you run towards the fight. Alright, so again, I'm gonna pause here. Let's watch your perspective real quick. So farming, then you spear break around past you. Then you see, oh shit, he's charging. Here's some spells. Oh, that's a fight. Unfortunately, this ward kind of bugged out. Let's see if I can. Not sure how to remove it. Well, whatever. It's just blue. Anyway, you see this fight. So, like, tell me when you see this fight. Like, okay, what goes through your head? Like, all right, there's a fight. I need to run there and help my team, right?
Yeah.
But what is the best way for you to help your team? Like, what's gonna be your contribution to the fight, most likely?
SlashStrike.
Yeah. So, do you need to run there to SlashStrike?
No, I can pressure mid.
Exactly, yeah. You can, like, your biggest contribution with these spells. Again, I was talking about the Ice Wall, how it's like that's strong right now with your like build, but it's not very strong against their heroes, because it's melee range and it slows a lot. But you have a Viper and a Pudge, like you don't need more slow. And the only scenario where you're actually useful is for Meteor, and that's against like very tanky heroes that your team doesn't really have. Like, your team has stuns, but you don't have damage to kill them, so you come with the Meteor to get that kill. And even that is like, it's risky. You put yourself in dangerous position. You waste mana, blah blah blah. And pretty much every time it's gonna be better to just pressure the tower, because again the tower, it's first of all it's safe, the way you pressure the tower, and I'm gonna talk about how you pressure the tower as well. First of all, it's safe, because you don't put yourself at risk. Like there's no chance of you dying. Again, like running into a fight, like there's some pretty crazy stuff. I mean, like 2 are dead, and yeah, your team is behind you, but still, this is just, it's a risk. Like there's a chance of you dying, and there's no reason to take that risk. Because basically killing these supports doesn't really contribute to winning the game that much. I assume you guys probably still get the tower afterwards, which, you know, it's fine, but it should have been the main. Tower is like actually what is good here, and killing the supports just doesn't really do anything. So going for the tower would be safe, and it would actually have, like, you would create space for yourself basically. Again, like your team is kind of far ahead, very strong. There's like lots of space this game. You're not pressured. You can farm wherever you want. Like everyone's mid fighting each other, and you can farm the whole map if you want. So in this particular game, it's not like very game changing, but there will be a lot of games where you're Invoker and there just isn't any space. You know, like team is dying left and right. You're losing lanes. There's like a Clinks running around hunting you. There's a Ricky or whatever. You know, like you're gonna be pressured.
Yep.
You can't just farm anywhere. Like there's gonna be no places to farm. Maybe you have a. Again, I was saying how like your team is really nice to, because they don't. They're all like early game heroes and they don't need to farm. But you know, you're gonna have sometimes a greedy team. You're gonna have like a Void off lane and a Sven safe lane. They both want to farm jungle, and then like what's left for you? So in those kind of cases, you can't have this mentality of you know, like it's gonna be a lot more punished if you also like play recklessly and you die, and you can't just come back with, through your team. So what you need to do in that case is, even though you're like a hero that doesn't want to fight, you need to somehow create space for yourself, and pressuring towers is one of the best ways to do that. Yeah, so one quick thing I'm gonna mention here, it's kind of it's a small detail, but when you start doing it, you notice actually how insane it is. In the early game, when you pressure a tower, instead of using Electron yourself, you want to use it on the catapult. And it sounds kind of weird, but just try and you will see like the damage is crazy. For a number, and it's better for a number of reasons, not just more damage, because the catapult is like siege damage, and it's just gonna hit harder than you hit in the early game. The catapult focuses the tower even if there's creeps around. So what that means is that you can, like, when there's creeps around and you're like hitting the tower with your hero, it's kind of dangerous because the creeps are scouting, and also by hitting the tower with your hero, you're in a dangerous position, right? Like you're on the high ground. Again, this rip is not great to show it because they're all dead and you guys have like complete map control. But the point is, by electrocuting the catapult, you can damage the tower without putting yourself at risk at all. And you deal a lot of damage, and not just that, but when you're not there with your hero, you know the tower has less armor because you're not giving the +3 armor from the aura. So the catapult actually ends up dealing any more damage. Yeah. And that way you create space for yourself. So again, like, I'm gonna just go back a little bit. When the fight started, that should be your mindset should be like, alright, there's a fight, okay, this is my moment, quickly kill these creeps. That would actually be like, this would be a moment where you might use the catapult instead of the range creep, just because you want to push the lane really quick right now because you know there's a fight. And I mean, you can look at the fight, you know, to see there's a SlashStrike, that's fine, because you know you don't really need to look at how you're attacking the creeps, but yeah, just for SlashStrike, definitely run there, and maybe meteor the next wave and alacrity your catapult, and just by doing that, you pretty much guaranteed you get the tower. So it's guaranteed you get the tower. There's 0 chance of you dying because all you did was like cast meteor and cast alacrity, and you walked away. And even if your team loses the fight, like, that's the thing, if your team wins the fight, they win without you. If they lose the fight, they would lose it even if you were there. So again, like, your impact on the fight is just a SlashStrike, which is global. So you shouldn't be thinking about fights at all this early when you don't have Ags. So anyway, yeah, you'll get a guaranteed tower, and yeah, and not just you. while getting the tower, you would also be farming the jungle already, because you know you're basically taking the tower from a distance. That's the best part of that play. So anyway, now you get the tower, and next thing you should look at is just to finish Axe. Another thing is, you've probably seen Invokers buy a lot of casual clarities. Okay, here you bring one. I mean, casual clarities have been a thing, you know, ever since they changed they don't get cancelled. But especially Invoker, like that's probably the best example of a hero to buy a lot of casual clarities on. Like, not too many before the Midas, because obviously you want the Midas, but after the Midas, it's totally fine to have, like, you know, spend like a lot of money, like 4 or 5 clarities throughout until you get your eggs, because it's important to not only farm fast and spam spells like Alacrity to farm, maybe Meteor to push waves, again pushing waves to create space, and also to always have mana for SlashStrike in case you can get a kill. I'm just gonna check out right here real quick. I noticed this SlashStrike. Yeah, so problem here. You see hero and you just use SlashStrike on top of him, but there's like a bunch of mod golems. Again, your team's ahead, Viper comes in, kills him anyway. But that's just a small thing, like you wanna place the SlashStrike in such a way that it hits only the hero. And that's just something that comes with practice. Like, it's quite hard, I'll admit, in this situation.
Yeah, I know. I also think like the same thing, because I know that it takes less damage with the split units, but
Yeah.
I thought the angle was like super hard.
Yeah,
so I just went for the random Sunstrike.
There's no way you dodge this one, because like this left mod golem is like literally inside him, but you can definitely dodge the two on the right if you just put the Sunstrike a bit more to the left. And because right now it's split between 4 units, and it did yeah, like, wait, I mean, just to show real quick. Yeah, so it did 100 damage, and it will do literally, yeah, it's actually, yeah, 2.5 times the damage basically. Yeah. And that's just a small thing, small mechanics thing. I mean, if you know, I'm like focusing mostly on the decisions, and like I will point out these, like, you know, how to use spells and whatnot, but those are kind of details. Like, you shouldn't be too worried about those things, like how good you are at hitting some strikes. Like, it's not the biggest deal. It's not what's gonna win you games. But this whole thing, like whether you push a lane or whether you join a fight, like that's what, you know, it's gonna separate you from like other invokers at your level basically. It's gonna allow you to actually win games that you should have lost and climb. Okay, so right now, do you remember this moment? Can you tell me like what was going through your head here?
First I sent the force spirit back to last hit the creep that almost died.
Yeah.
Then I just went with my team to maybe get a kill near their shrine.
Okay, so I'll ask again, like the last time, if there's a fight here right now, what's gonna be your contribution to this fight?
I have very low mana, so probably nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's better if I just split push bottom or something.
Exactly.
Or maybe farm jungle.
Yeah, exactly. And not just that, but I would probably say it's not gonna be much, even if you did have mana, because again, like there's no situation in which like you being there is gonna be the difference maker. Like this Doom is dead 100%. I mean, Viper just right clicks him and he's dead. The Weaver, if they get the chain stun going, he's gonna die. If they don't, he will live. Again, you being there, not being there is not gonna change anything. So, and that's even if you had full mana. But yeah, especially when you don't have mana, like it's just because what happens right now is, okay, you get these kills and stuff, but now you're sitting at 0 mana, so your farm is slow, your XP is not that much because you're sharing it with everyone. You're gonna take the tower like 5 seconds faster maybe, but you know, you're dealing damage, but you're also giving it armor by being there, so it's like eh. And basically this whole move was like kind of a waste of time. When you play Invoker, you also shouldn't be scared of using shrines for yourself just for mana. The hero is like really mana intensive, and that's why also, like, again, the mass clarities in the early game is fine. Also why the casual raindrop it's not only good on the lane to survive, but also after that, just it's the like one of the cheapest mana regen items. And yeah, I mean, this is kind of a way, like, you could wait 2 more seconds to be full mana, like it's yeah. Also, you walked out here without buying another TP. I get that you're going for BOT, but it's very unlikely that you finish the BOT before actually having an opportunity to TP somewhere and get something going.
By the way, in this situation where I Midas the creep there, if you will roll back, like, which creep is the best to Midas, the blue creep or like the big creep?
Yeah, it's the blue creep, because the blue creep is level 3 and the one is level 2. But
okay.
And this, I mean, this at this point it's like a little bit. I mean, for these, yeah, definitely always the blue. But for example, if you ask, like, is it better to get this or walk 5 seconds longer minus the troll? I mean, yeah, the troll is gonna give you probably a lot more XP, but then again, you waste some seconds of the ready cooldown getting there, and like that's kind of whatever, like what's actually better. It's just it's up to you. Like, the difference is like so small that it's like it doesn't really impact the game that much. But that's just gonna be like a habit you form. But it's still not bad to think about it, because those little things, they add up. Alright, so right now, what should be your thought process? Again, we're looking at a fight is breaking out here, and the enemy jungle, and it's not really a fight, it's just Butch kind of dying. And once again, you're on the same lane as Viper, which is not really what you want. Again, like you have the axe, so it's not like you shouldn't fight. It's just you want to be, you want to be controlling the map. You want to be farming as fast as possible. You want to be making sure that you get 6 loaded and secure the late game. Alright, so right now you see the drow. Your team is smoking for the drow, and you're on the other side of the map. You want to push out the lane. If you wait, like, let's say you wait for these creeps to die, and then the creeps come under the tower, or they meet the next wave, like, then you push out, you don't really lose any time. And this is actually this situation is very similar to the one earlier, if you remember, where your team killed the drow bottom with 3, and they killed you mid. So once again, like, when your team is making a move on the enemy carry to gank them, like, there's 2 options. Either the enemy team is there's gonna be a fight, or they're not there and your team gets a free kill, but that means the enemy team is doing something else if they're not protecting their carry, which is probably ganking. Now, the reason I'm saying all this before we actually see what happens is so it's not like, because otherwise it's a bit silly, right? Like, every time you die and I'm like, oh yeah, you should have known this because this and that happened and you could have known. Like, that sounds a bit like Captain Hindsight. So that's I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, maybe they're all farming jungle and this is super fine, you're gonna live. I don't know, obviously, but I'm just saying, like, from the information you have right now, it's not a good decision to walk out here because you don't see them. That's basically it. Like, there's a risk of you dying, so you shouldn't do it. Now let's see what actually happens. And even if you do walk out, you wanna just meteor the wave and walk away, because that's like safer. You only show yourself for like a second. But by actually hitting the creeps here, you show yourself for a very, very long time. So, okay, what happens is you do actually die. So they weren't farming jungle, and yeah. So, okay, so you see now, like, it makes a bit more sense what I said, because it's not like I saw you die and then I'm saying, like, oh, you should have known. But I actually said it before seeing it, so. And if I can tell before it happens, then you can also, just by looking at the minimap. Of course, it's a lot harder to see these kind of things when you're playing, because you need to pay attention to a lot more things, and it's a lot easier to see it when you're watching a replay, because you can pause, you can think about it, blah blah blah. But again, that's what you should try, because like at least this situation for me was like pretty obvious, and if you think about it, like you know why it's obvious, and maybe you're gonna die like that 20 more times, but eventually you're gonna like get into the habit, and you're gonna start to recognize these situations. And maybe the 21st time, you're gonna be like, oh, hang on a second, I don't see anyone. Maybe I shouldn't walk out here. and then you'll survive. And you know, that's how you improve basically.
Mm.
So okay, here you get picked off, and now the impact this has also is pretty big, honestly. First of all, you could see that the gold swing is massive. Like, okay, actually that doesn't take into account the draw kill, but either way, like your team is ahead, and you are a lot more important to your team than the draw is to theirs. Even though like you're both close to top net worth. Like now your team is kind of, again, like this replay is not super great for showing these scenarios because you're kind of stomping right now. Like you have a pretty huge lead, so for example this mistake that you make here, it's not really gonna have a big impact because of this advantage, so it's not really gonna get punished by the enemy team. But imagine the game was super even. Like what would happen now is that you're dead, so your team can't really go for this tower because they're all gonna TP back, and your team is gonna have to fight without you, and that's gonna be hard because it's already 21 minutes in. Like this is the point where you kind of need to have an impact on the game basically as one of the top net worth heroes. So what would have happened if you didn't die is that, okay, the draw is dead, your team is pushing bottom, you pushed in top, and you know you're gonna have to like either the enemy team all TPs back to defend bottom, and then you can push top. Like there's no tier 2 already, but imagine it was you push the tier 2, okay, you can push the tier 3, whatever. Like you wouldn't attack the tier 3, but you would push the creeps in and they would hit the tier 3, whatever. But and yeah, either that or the enemy heroes would stay top to deal with those creeps, and then your team would get the bottom tower. But like when you die, then suddenly there's only gonna be pressure from one side, and the enemy team is gonna have like an easy time just not losing anything. So yeah, it's basically like when your team is going for a pick off and it's looking pretty obvious that they're gonna get it. Like again, we can roll back. Just seeing this moment, it's pretty obvious that they're gonna get this pick off, right? Maybe from this point, like I mentioned, either it's gonna be a fight or they're gonna just kill her. And about the time that they're jumping her, it's already obvious that she's dead. So like this already like plus point for your team is already pretty much achieved at this point. The draw is dead. So the only thing like that can, like if you literally AFK in base right now, like your team is winning because you just killed the draw. But if you put yourself at risk, like you basically risk that plus point to be erased because you die at the same time. So you know, so here something good happens, yay, and then with your death, like that's kind of nullified. It's like, oh yeah, we killed the draw. Oh wait, our invoker died. Okay, that's not so good actually.
No.
So yeah, again, these things. Just move on. Anyway, again, because of the advantage, the enemy team isn't really able to punish this that much because again, the Viper is just too strong. Like the net worth, too many items. They still can't fight even though you're dead. So now you respawn. Alright, let's pause here before this. Okay, something else to think about is TPUs. Like when you're playing this kind of hero, like that's, you know, the top laner is expected to carry the game and etc. You want to like control the map. Like TPs are super important. And there's like a couple aspects of the TPs, like managing the cooldown, because TP cooldown got nerfed a bunch of patches in a row, and whether like you show that TP or not, like keeping track of your own TP, keeping track of the enemy TPs. Again, like these are slightly more advanced concepts, and like most people in this bracket probably not gonna like notice that too much or not gonna punish it, but it's still like that's not a reason to not think about it. Like when you TP like this on the creeps, enemies see it, they know, okay, Invoker just TP top, you're stuck in this like top of the map for 80 seconds. If a fight breaks out bottom like 30 seconds later, you're not gonna be there because you TP top, and they know that. So if they're smart, they're gonna run like here is 5 and they can regain their jungle because there's no chance for you to be there. So if they run into the jungle as 5, your team has to run, you're not there yet. So this is just to show like the importance of TPs. And also like now, I mean your team is coming to back you up, but again they're going on you already. Even if you survive here, the point is you got forced away from the top lane. So now you need to like run away, you need to walk to a different lane. You kind of stick around to help them fight, but again like contribution is not too big here. Again, like there's a Viper, Doom is gonna be dead whether you're there or not, so here when you like circle around, the better move would be, yeah, so instead of going like, I can't actually draw, instead of going like this, is to just run straight to mid and push that way.
Yep.
Again, just thinking about controlling the map, etc. Okay, so actually I guess we're running a bit low on time here. I guess there's, I mean we didn't, like we're only about 2/3 of the replay, but I do think like the early game is the most important, and the examples I gave are like, I would imagine at least that the last like part of this game is probably gonna be more or less a stomp, because you guys just get further and further ahead.
Yep.
And there's not like that much to say.
Yeah, because like I agree, like this is like the most important part, leading up to Invoker's items and getting like 6-star and stuff. So
Yeah.
these things like with pushing the waves and the map control and stuff is like really important.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, once you get your like your Blink and your Octarine 25, you spam tornadoes every 9 seconds. Like from there, it's kind of easy, right? Like, not too much to say about that. But yeah, it's basically when, because this early part is where you can get punished, and you know, against good players with good early game heroes, and which by the way, like their draft, like it might look a bit wonky, but those heroes definitely have the potential to snowball early and really like wreck an Invoker, because they have the push in the form of Drow with Weaver and Ogre Bloodlust, and they have the frontliner in Doom and Ogre, and they have the bounty to like help that snowball, help them get pickoffs and skirmishes and stuff.
Yeah.
So
And he fucks with my Ghost Walk as well.
exactly, it's definitely a lineup that can punish you. So again, it's this game was a stomp, but it can definitely not go that easily. And I guess as closing thoughts, I'll just mention, yeah, I'm gonna like emphasize again. I mean, I kind of already talked about it, but when like the main thing I can say is what to think about if you want to improve as a player, if you want to get in more, get better. And I tell this to everyone is just to focus on pushing lanes basically. And it's gonna sound a bit silly, maybe a bit obvious or whatever, stupid, but it really is. Like, if I had to pick one thing that Dota is about, I would say it's about pushing lanes. And a good way to explain that is to think about what happens when you push a lane. And when I push a lane, I don't mean hitting a tower. I just mean quickly, like literally quickly killing a creep wave, so that your creeps advance forward. So what happens every time you push a lane is, like, let's say right now, these creeps are hitting this tower. So there's like two options every time you push a lane. Either this happens, the creeps are hitting a tower and no one is there, so then you know no one has stopped, they must be doing something. Either that, or someone goes to the creeps to kill them and defend the tower, and then you know, alright, Ogre is top, Drow is top, you see them. So either way you get information. So like pushing wave equals information. And that what information allows you, it's basically it gives you space. And on any hero, like, yeah, information means, like, if your Invoker wants to farm, it's space for, like, information for where there is space for you to farm, where it's safe on the map, where it's not safe. If you're playing Lina with Shadowblade, like, it's information for where you can find pickoffs, where you can kill people, etc. So
yeah, it's like super good. Like, you can, if you see like two pushed lanes and they're not doing anything about it, maybe they're like smoke ganked and stuff like that.
Exactly, and that's the best part when that happens. Yeah, like that's a good example you're bringing up. When there's two push lanes and the creeps are hitting their towers and no one is doing anything about it, you can literally like run S5 to your base and you're gonna be like winning, so to speak, at that moment, because you're actually like achieving something. You know, your creeps are like damaging their towers and the enemies are running around smoking or whatever, and they're not achieving anything. And if they don't find any kill, you won basically. And like that's what, like, it's really hard for people to accept that sometimes the right play is to just sit back and AFK. I mean, AFK, you know, like sit still.
Yeah, I understand the concept.
Yeah, and it's a pretty hard for a lot of people to realize, but that is actually the right play sometimes. And all right, so yeah, I guess we're about done. I mean, we started a little bit past 7. Yeah, it's like 10 past 8. So, all right, man. Hope it was useful. And
yeah, it was super awesome. Like like I think like watching in hindsight and seeing like what you can do differently, and like because it's like when you say like what's going through your mind, and then I feel like so dumb because I know what to do. Like I know I should push a lane, but I don't do it.
Exactly.
So like,
I mean, okay, I can say one more
funny.
thing. One more thing about that is that you have to understand that obviously, even when you watch your replays, it's gonna be the same as like a higher MR player watching a replay, or like a better player, because when you're playing the game, you have a lot more things to think about than when you're watching a replay. So
yeah,
it's already like guaranteed that if you watch your own replay, you're gonna notice stuff that you didn't notice in the game, and yeah, it's gonna feel bad. You're gonna be like, oh, what the fuck was I doing? And I mean, I have the same when I watch my own replays, but that's super normal, and it's a sign that, you know, you can improve that way. It's good if you see things that you're like, oh, this was weird, and all you have to do is like think, okay, what was going through my head at that moment, and next time you're gonna recognize the situation.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, well, glad you liked it, and you have me on Skype, so just let me know if you want to schedule more sometime.
Yeah, sure. If I have any questions, can I maybe ask them on Skype?
Yeah, sure. Just message me on Skype. I mean, I can't promise I'll reply instantly, but I check it like a couple times a day. So.
Yeah. Do you play like, do you stream, or do you playing a team, or?
Yeah, playing on a team. It's like not a very high level team yet. It's a relatively new team, so we're still practicing and stuff. And
Okay.
yeah, on this stream I do also stream like pubs, but not so much like lately. Lately it's mostly coaching sessions, because I don't have a lot of time for pubs, because we're always playing with the team. But yeah, if I do play solo queue, I'll also stream it on my channel. I'll link it now when I link you the vault. So yeah.
Okay. Oh, great, man.
All right. Well, see you next time then. Hopefully.
Yeah. Have a good one. Have a good one, man. See you.
Have a nice evening.
Yeah. Same. Bye.
Bye bye. King of the moment, magic /strike prediction voodoo. Wow. Yeah, I mean, that was kind of lucky that that prediction with the Drow gang worked out, but it was still. I mean, I said it actually. I've started doing that in my coach sessions, like trying to say what should happen, and a lot of times it doesn't happen. Like I remember coaching this other guy on Invoker. He BOTs into a fight like in the middle of 5 people where there's like a void with Chron already, and he's like BOTing in the middle of the fight. I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but this looks like a disaster. It's a really bad move. And in the end, he doesn't die. They kill everyone. And of course, it's kind of silly, but when, you know, it turns out what I said is like not actually what happens. But I'm not saying it the reason to predict. I'm just saying it to like make the students conscious of, like, you know, to be realistic. Like when they make the move, they should think like logically what's gonna happen, what's likely to happen. And when you think that way, you're gonna make a better decision. So. How are scrims with Scorpion going? Pretty good. A lot of scrims, a lot of officials. I'm excited. How good do we need to be to get any team? Trial at 7k. We don't really have a MR requirement, honestly. It depends. Like people have different approaches to teams. With this team, my approach was. I mean, I built it with salary. Like together, we kind of look for people, and yeah, we just had we looked a lot more at mindset. Basically, people that are like, willing to play as like having a good team player is a lot more valuable than having a high MR player, because there are plenty of high MR players that just aren't very useful to have on a team, because not even talking about hero pools, but just their mentality. Like getting high MR basically does not equal being a good player or being on a good team. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. yeah, done for now. And yeah, I will stream again. Actually, let me see. Maybe I could stream a solo queue. I haven't played solo queue in quite a while. Just gotta check something. I played the new Trash in League Overpower. Yeah, I signed up for it, but in the end I just didn't really have the time for it. Yeah, I'm actually just gonna I'm gonna go now, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll upload this VOD on YouTube so you can rewatch. I mean, it's mostly for Steam, but also, of course, anyone else can rewatch the coaching session. And see you guys next time.